Welcome to the award-winning PrepZone Show. I'm your host, Johnathan Bentley, joined by Zak McCullough. And before I forget anything, it is also sponsored by Bevill State. Don't leave them out.
You don't want to leave
Bevill
State
not.
out. You tend to be forgetful in your old age.
Yes.
You cannot forget.
I'm getting up there.
Cannot forget about Bevill State Community College.
And we can keep using award-winning till the next person wins the award. It's kind of like World Series champ.
Right. You can. Yeah. You are the reigning champions till you're unthroned. Which
is the Dodgers right now, unfortunately. Yeah, we won't go there. All right, so we'll open the show with we're down to four more now. Now we're down to three teams.
Yeah, we had four last week, and now there are three.
But I will say I can't remember a season where we had three in the third round.
So that's right. The quarterfinals are full of Wallwin area teams, even though nobody from Walker County itself. But that's a different story. It was a good week for three of our playoff teams. Another kind of went the way we figured, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes, it did. They're playing the number one team. So we'll start with a battle of ranked teams. Number 5, Winston County 25. Number 10, Vincent 20. And I didn't know anything about Vincent, but I go to this game, and it turns out they're pretty good.
Vincent had a good team, and they really had a tough draw in the round with Winston County, who's a juggernaut. But give credit to the Vincent Yellow Jackets.
Yes.
They hung around, kept it very close, made it very interesting, had all the Winston County fans sweating. But Winston County's able to pull it out. And this week, it seems like, you move up around, but you're almost going down with an opponent because you play the number 10 team in Class 2A. Now you've got somebody that's 8-4.
Yeah, it seems like that second round a lot of times is the hump that's hard to get over the most.
Right.
But I will say this for Vincent, they came out, it was 18-6 at halftime. They come out, go straight down they were fired up. Go straight down the field, had all the momentum, they score. Then they get the ball driving to take the lead. And our Chris Clemons picks it off, goes 99 yards.
Wow.
Basically, they still didn't quit. They scored again. They had the ball to got an onside kick. Vincent I was really impressed, even though they lost. And their band played a Paula Abdul song.
Oh, well.
Which, do you know Paula Abdul?
I know exactly who she is.
Oh, really?
Yes. I have an old soul when it comes to music. In fact, older than that, because she was more 90s.
Yeah, that was late 80s, early 90s. They were playing a Paula Abdul song, and I was like, wow, that's rare, Anyway, so Winston County, congratulations, 12-0. So they keep going.
Hopefully 13-0. Then 14-0, then 15-0.
That would be a perfect season.
But we couldn't get to 16-0.
No.
We couldn't do that.
No. Something crazy happened. So corner 11-1 beats Boaz 52-42.
It was an absolute shootout, and it felt like every time corner would kind of push it out of reach, Boaz would get back in it, and corner had to keep on scoring until the score was crazy, 52-42. Yes. But credit to corner. Some certain people in this room doubted that they might win.
Oh, yeah, that guy over there. I don't know. I did pick Boaz.
You did. You picked Boaz. Our producer, Jake, picked Boaz. But I knew corner was going to win it. So
yes, it was
great
close.
For the Yellow Jackets. And Boaz, they fought hard. They did. But corner was too much for them, too much on offense.
Yeah, it got to 35-35, typical corner game.
Right.
And then they win.
Well, it's always got to be tied in the fourth quarter.
They have to wait till it's out, boom, then here they go, So, Lynn, a game you were at, 28, Appalachian 12.
And if we're being really, really honest here, the game was never this close. Lynn jumped out to a nice lead and then felt like they kind of let their foot off the gas. Appalachian was able to score a touchdown, get an onside kick, made it kind of entertaining at the end. But there was really not much doubt the entire time that Lynn was the better team. The Appalachian offense couldn't get anything done until the fourth quarter. Lynn, they really dominated, and like you said last week, they're smooth. They're not going to blow you away, but they're very smooth. They cruise. It got a little bumpy in the very end, but Lynn wins, and it sets up a very interesting game this week that we'll get into in just a minute.
Yes. Yeah, if you keep going, you get really good matchups usually. And a game we kind of talked about for a second, Wadley number 1, Wadley 55, Meek 22, so it ends Meek's season.
Yeah, Meek's season ends, and we'll discuss this in a minute as well, but it was really a phenomenal season for Meek.
Yeah, and that's a tough draw.
I hate it couldn't have lasted longer, but, the number 1 team in Class 1A, Wadley, and 55-22, Wadley's blown teams out by a lot larger margins than that. So nothing to hang your head on if you're Meek. It was, not your game, but playing a team like that,
Yeah, I think Wadley is just now 10-0. See, nobody would even play these guys.
I know they had to
They're
take
so
an extra
good.
off week.
They had 3 off weeks this season.
They
instead of 1.
they earned it. They earned it.
Yeah, nobody will play them. All right, so we'll touch on the top players of the week. I didn't talk about this guy earlier, but because I was saving it for this, but Spencer Unruh again. I mean, 2 straight games over 3. It's just not like he has 301. He had 344 on 41 carries.
Yeah, he run the ball 41 times.
That's a lot of rushes for a team.
That's a lot of rushes for, like you say, for an entire team. But this is one person getting the workload. 41 rushes, 344 yards. Oh, he did have 5 touchdowns, by the way.
And needed all of them.
He needed, corner needed every one of them.
Yes.
Runs of 56, 21, 15, 10, and then a 1-yard touchdown run, which hurt the average a little bit.
Right.
But 6 points is 6 points. In the 2 playoff games, 671 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns.
That's 2 games. Yeah, and on the season, 1926, he's only played 10 games this year.
That's right. He had to take a couple off due to injury.
They had other guys fill the void those 2 games. They won those 2 games. It was Springville and John Carroll.
The only loss was one that we're still.
Yeah, Briarwood.
Briarwood was
but
you know
anomaly.
They're playing Leeds this week. Leeds is 10-2, and one of those losses, Briarwood. So,
Briarwood beat 2 ranked teams and went. Yeah, they just
5-5.
They caught fire too late. I don't know if somebody was injured but boy, at the end of the year they were playing really well. Starting basically with that Leeds game.
Right.
That was their first win. So he's up to 22 touchdowns, but 9 in the last 2 games. I mean,
that's really
in the playoffs.
Good. Without him, corners getting blown out. He is carrying that workload, and they have great backups.
Troy Thompson, yeah,
he was injured for 2 games, like we said, and they ran the ball consistently and ran it well.
Yeah, I'll say the quarterback can also run for them. He had a pretty good, threw for 100 yards, rushed for like 70, had a touchdown, threw a touchdown last week. Yeah, their offense, boy, I mean, these are fun. 52-42, just a fun game to watch. All right, so we'll talk about Chris Clemons now. Winston County, it's the usual guy, right? These are the usual people right here. And he had 3 total touchdowns, but I told you that 99-yard touchdown, that was him, 99-yard return.
99 yards all the way on the pick 6.
Yeah, so he had their first 2 touchdowns. I think he ran 1, caught 1. Then that basically sealed the deal there. 3 interceptions.
Oh, my goodness.
And 83 rushing, 71 receiving, just all the way around.
Lucky. 2 touchdowns.
Coach said he was lucky to have a guy like that on his team. It makes the difference.
Yeah, anybody would be lucky to have a guy like this on their team.
And he played 1 game last year, and maybe that's why they struggled so bad.
And they have other players. So if Chris Clemons, if he's stuffed, they've got players all over the field that can pick up that slack. So Winston County's in a great situation headed forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see – like you said, it was tougher last week probably than it is this coming up week. And you can talk about Braylon Roberts. Since
Braylon Roberts, a tight end D lineman for the Lynn Bears. 11 rushing attempts. This is a tight end running the football. 11 rushes, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Also threw a 67-yard touchdown pass. For somebody who's a great wide receiver, he only caught 1 pass for 12 yards. But still, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, and 1 passing.
Yeah, because he was kind of their quarterback when Austin Dye got hurt earlier this year.
And he did a great job.
Yeah, and throwing, he did a little bit of everything. Like you said, I mean, this is the usual suspects for everybody here. Even though, they do have other good players on these teams, obviously, or they wouldn't still be playing.
That's right. If you're at this point of the playoffs, you can't just be a one-man show. You have to have a team that works completely together, a lot of stars, and that's what these teams have.
Yeah. We did have some teams around here that if one player went down, it would have finished their season.
Right.
Which that happens in high school.
It does.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a year like that. All right, so we'll talk about this week's games. There's only 3. And one of those is at home. These aren't bad road trips, though.
They're not really that
bad.
The
the first one is the number 7 corner at number 9 Leeds.
These are a couple of top 10 teams. Like we said, they have one thing in common besides being ranked, and that's losing to Briarwood Christian. Leeds also lost to a really, really good Moody team. That's why they're at 10-2. And this one, I went back and forth on it. But it's at Leeds, so I have to pick the Green Wave, although I'm never confident picking against Corner.
Yeah, me neither.
Because they burnt you last week.
They burned me more than once this year.
They did.
I will say Corner 11-1, they just find a way, So if it's close, I think they thrive in that situation.
Leeds has to jump out to a massive lead and then hold on to win, which I think they have the firepower to do.
Yeah, this is a really tough draw. Number 9 is probably a little bit low ranked for them.
Very low ranked.
And Moody is a team that's left in the playoffs. So there you go. So the losses are to 2 good teams. And I went with Leeds as well, but I was wrong last week. Out of 4 games, I usually miss one.
That's
like
right.
70-something%. So there's a good chance I miss one of these.
Well, I kind of hope you do. At least if it's this one. Now, if it's the other 2, maybe not.
Yes.
But.
So, I picked Winston County, number 5, 12-0 at Sulligent, 8-4.
Sulligent has had a really nice playoff run after finishing the regular season 6-4, and at least they get a home game this week. But they're playing Winston County, and Sulligent, they've got a good team, like I said. But Winston County, I think, has too much firepower. The defense is too good. Special teams are too good. Winston County, I think, is just all around the better team. So that's why I'm picking the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, Brian Gunnels, who I don't know if anybody will remember, was at Carbon Hill 1 year under Royce Young. So it's been a while.
Assistant.
Yeah, was a coordinator, doing a great. Then he went to Brilliant. He was head coach, did a great job there. I think they made the 2nd or 3rd round 1 year. Now he's winning at Sulligent, and also good friends with Caleb Simmons. They both went to Montgomery together.
Wow.
For the meeting on Saturday. But yeah, 8-4 Sulligent. I mean, it's good for them to get to. They're usually good.
They are. They gave Oakman headaches when they were on the schedule a couple of years ago.
That's true. And they've won 3 in a row against Winston County, even as recently as last year. They were in the same region for 6 straight years.
Wow.
So I'm going Winston County, though. Unless something crazy happens, they should win that game.
They should.
Think. Yeah. Everything goes like it should. But that's why you play the game.
That's right. If we were playing it on paper, Winston County would win by a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But as Coach Simmons knows, you have to show up for every single game. And that's what they've done to this point, so I would expect no different here.
Yeah, me neither. Number 7, Lynn, 11-1 at Hackleburg, 11-1. So it's number 7 against number 6.
Yeah, Hackleburg's number 6. And they played once this season. Lynn was without their quarterback, Austin Dodd. They kind of ran a vanilla game because it wasn't region play, didn't want to get anybody else hurt. And Hackleburg won 33-13. Now it's revenge time, I would expect. Because Lynn, this is what they've been looking forward to, is getting a shot at Hackleburg. This is at Lynn, so it's going to be a home game for the Bears. The crowd is going to be absolutely insane. But Hackleburg's such a good team. But it doesn't matter, I don't think. I think the revenge factor is going to be really prevalent. And by the way, Lynn's extremely talented as well.
And they're healthy now.
And they're healthy, which is very important this time of year. So I'm picking Lynn, although Hackleburg is a phenomenal football team. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
It's a very tough pick. Because Hackleburg, but I'm like you said, if you're kind of similar, you're both good teams, usually the other team will win the second time around.
That's right.
The team that lost the first time. So I'm going Lynn, but that's really tough. That's going to be a wild atmosphere.
Oh, it's going to be great. And listen, this is the only game we've got in the wall win this week that's being played at home. So if you can't get to Lynn, because you're not going to want to miss it.
Yes. These other, like an hour away, Leeds, and from here in Jasper, and probably Sulligent.
Sulligent is a straight shot down 78.
It's just a long
so that's a good drive too. But Lynn is very much closer. So listen, if you want to go to Leeds and Sulligent, that's great. Just go somewhere. Go somewhere Friday night.
It might be a little bit colder, but that's how you know you're doing well. The colder it gets, the better your team's doing. All right, so we'll talk about corner for a second. Talk about these comebacks. I mean, it's just really crazy. I've gone back and watched most of their games, and I mean, John Carroll had them beat. Winona had them beat. But if you leave them a little bit of time in the fourth quarter, they're going to come back and win.
You have got when you have a late over corner, you've got to bleed the clock and keep it out of their hands. Thing is, corner knows that, and they're going to keep you from doing it. And that's why corner's able to come back. Also they're well coached and extremely talented. That does not hurt at all.
Does help.
But they're just about the most clutch team I've seen in high school football. Yeah,
it seems like once they started, I remember our photographer was at that game, and he said a kid told him as they're going off the field, I don't remember what game it was at halftime, they were second half team. And boy, I mean, he called it because ever since then
that has proved
they keep
to be
winning.
True.
Yeah, in the last 2 games, the Carver game was a big one. I think it was 30-7.
They were down by 23.
Had to win it to win the region and come back all the way back and win that game. But, I mean, it's been tied the last 2 weeks in the fourth quarter, and they won both of them.
By double digits.
And if you look, the other team had the momentum, especially Boaz. They had drived out. They had tied it. They had been holding corner in check. Corner has like a big third down. They get it, and from that point on, they started rolling again. They turned it back on. But yeah, so that'll be, and now they hopefully have to do it again, or maybe they won't need to.
Maybe they won't
just jump
need
all
to.
over them and win.
I would like to see that.
That would be something.
That would
be very impressive.
Because in the first half, they're good in the first half, but their second half corner is different than first half corner.
Yes,
it's just unbelievable how they're able to do
just
what they do.
That switch. Yeah, that's very hard to do.
And like the old saying goes, playing with fire, as long as you don't get burnt, it is pretty impressive.
And it seems like when they do that, they don't make mistakes.
I know it.
They just get it done.
Just don't get burnt.
All right, so we'll also talk about Meek. That wraps up the year. When they were 0-3, what did you think was going to happen this year with them?
I was seeing a 6-5 season because they kind of had the softer part of their schedule coming up. Then they had their big rivalry game with Addison. Then, playoffs, they would most likely have made it as a 3 seed and got beat. That's what I was thinking. They had other plans, did the Meek Tigers, and they went on a tear. An 8-game winning streak. They were able to upset Hubbardsville in the first round of the playoffs. And then last week, they ran into an absolute buzzsaw with Wadley. But still, to finish 8-4, considering where they were, there is absolutely no reason to be disappointed if you're a Meek Tiger.
Yeah, that was a great season. 0-3 start, then 8 in a row. And then, like you said, Wadley, which eventually, if you're in 1A, you're going to run into them, most likely, especially this year.
And Wadley, they might have a chance to win 1A from the North, which doesn't happen very often.
They've never won it. So Wadley has never, as many times as they've been to the playoffs, it tells you how hard it is.
But this might be their season.
Against those South teams, yeah, they're number one for a reason. But a good finish by Coach Evans and the Tigers there. We'll go through the top 3 this week, which I'm guessing is probably the same.
Identical. We've only got 3 teams to choose from.
So we'll start at 3, and I have Corner there.
So do I. They have they've looked really good. The fact that they're at the bottom of this list is just because of the teams that are at the top. It is nothing about Corner. This week could be very interesting because, like we've preached to you, never ever count Corner out of a football game. So definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. And Corner always has an advantage with Spencer Unruh on the field. So they're really, really good. And they're running into a tough team this week. But in actuality, so is Leeds.
Yes, they are. And it's funny, Unruh he missed those 2 games, maybe it helped him. And now he's just fired up like that.
When he got injured, he was able to recover. Got healthier than he'd been all season.
I think he could have played in that Springville game, but they didn't need him.
No. That's good coaching.
Yeah, and he came back fresh, and boy, he had that's 2 straight games where he's had a carry where they run into him at like the 20, and I think it was the 25, and they carried him to the 7. Now, that's Unruh. There's also the line, though.
That's true. The line gets behind you.
I've never seen a push like that. Yeah, it's 2 games in a row. It was like 20-something yard gain.
You can do that now. So you got to take advantage.
Yeah, they're really good at that. You don't want to get in the scrum with Corner.
No.
They must be really strong in that line. So, number 2?
Number 2, Lynn Bears. Mm-hmm. They have looked really good all season, with the exception of that loss to Hackleburg. And they did have a couple of interesting games. Pickens County was a very close one. Berry was very close. Hubbardsville was close. But they've been able to escape largely unscathed. Now they're healthy. They've got everybody playing. They looked really good last week until the 4th quarter. Then they kind of tapered off. Maybe that was just the realization of, hey, we got Hackleburg next week. But definitely Coach Hastings fixed that in practice. And Lynn will be very focused. And a focused team is a good team.
Yeah, I think they wanted this rematch, actually. So they were going to be fired up for this one. But, I mean, Lynn getting this far, last 2 years they've run into Coosa Christian.
That's right.
Coosa's gone.
Coosa went to 2A, and we were scared that Winston County would have to face them. Then Coosa finally got busted for cheating when it mattered, completely so that they could miss the playoffs instead of being able to sneak in as a 4 seed and then beat everybody.
Yeah, if they were the 4 seed, Winston County would have had to play them opening round. That would have not been good because that team was absolutely loaded. But, Lynn, just another incredible season. And in a normal year, Corner or Lynn would have been our number 1 teams on this list. But we have an undefeated team. Still.
That's right. The Winston County Yellow Jackets, one of the better teams that we've seen around these parts. And they don't have a lot of depth, but what they have is top to bottom talent, and that is absolutely frightening if you're another team in 2A. Winston County is a team that could make a long, long run in the playoffs. and wreck a lot of dreams for other teams.
Yeah, that's our number one, obviously. Because
yes.
how often do we have a undefeated team at this point?
Right.
It's been years, probably.
That
I can think of.
Yeah, it has been a while because a
Meek did
couple
it.
years ago we
Yeah.
had Meek undefeated,
And
but they lost.
Pickens County
They ran into Pickens in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, we were hoping for a Meek Lynn matchup that year. That would have been something.
That would have been a semifinal that year, but didn't work out.
The Lynn will be a madhouse, so get there early. You'll need a parking place.
You will need a parking place.
Yeah, there's some on the baseball field that'll be packed. So hopefully the weather's good and Lynn. How do you see these teams doing? By the way, I mean I know we picked them. Right. Are we really going to have 2 teams in the 4th round?
Man, that would be unreal to have a couple of quarterfinalers. And then if Lynn wins this, they're facing the winner of Barry and Wadley. So
you're going to run into somebody. Eventually.
They've already beaten Barry once, but it was very, very close. So, it could be very interesting if Barry wins, but Wadley's so good.
I know.
So Lynn's going to have a tough obstacle if they want to go to the state championship game. Winston County, they've got Pisgah lurking, most likely. No. But we don't know what's going to happen because it could be very interesting in that other quarterfinal matchup in Class 2A. So Winston County, I would say, would have the best shot of going the farthest. But, there's a lot of good teams left. So nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, and eventually you're going to run into the Elbas of the world and stuff like that. All right, so we'll jump into college real fast. So Alabama, that was kind of a snoozer.
It was 52-7 over a Mercer team that is now 9-2. They were playing with a lot of backups because they didn't want to get anybody hurt, considering they have playoffs coming up in the FCS.
Yeah, they got through, and that was about
it. They survived without any major injuries. They got a touchdown, which was a spectacular one-handed catch.
Play the game, I think, really.
Well, Ty Simpson did have one great play where he broke out of a sack. He was almost down, broke free, then chucked a pass to the 1-yard line to Josh Cuevas, who didn't get into the end zone, which was a little frustrating. But it didn't matter. They punched it in the next play.
Right. I mean, it was what you expect, 52-7. So on to the next game at Oklahoma. It'd be not as interesting as I thought it was going to be when the year started.
Yeah, that's true. But Oklahoma, it's a night game at Oklahoma. They're going to be absolutely fired up. So it could be a struggle win for Alabama. It could be. And my message is just survive it. You don't have to look great. Just win. You have Auburn next week. Think that'll be tough?
Yeah. I have a combined 9-11 record with Alabama's last 2 opponents.
Ooh.
Yeah. Who would have expected that?
Not me.
So what kind of seed do you think they'll get if they win these last 2?
Well, with
everything in front of them.
It depends because I saw where if Texas A&M beats Auburn, it's almost guaranteed that Alabama would win out to go to the SEC championship game. So Alabama could be shooting for a 2 seed. If they were to win out and everything goes the way it should, then Alabama would be SEC champions. Of course, then you'd have a matchup with the winner of Texas A&M most likely, and obviously utter chaos could break out. Then nobody knows what would happen in that situation. But if everything stays the way it should, you'd have Alabama and the winner of Texas A&M, which we'll probably talk about that game next week. So we're not going to spoil that early. But it could be very, very interesting. And of course, there's the debate. Let's say Alabama goes 10-2, goes to the SEC championship game and loses. They're 10-3. Would they still make the playoffs?
Then Ole Miss is mad.
You've got Ole Miss,
Georgia,
you've got Georgia,
right?
You've got Tennessee. That would still be 10-2. Most likely, of course, there's still some tough games. Ole Miss has to play the mighty Mississippi State Bulldogs, who won their second game of the season a couple of weeks ago. And in all seriousness, Tennessee has to play Vanderbilt, which
a lot tougher.
Could be interesting. And then Georgia has Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech's already proven they can. They've proven that they can beat a top 10 team. They beat Miami, who was ranked 4th. So there could be a lot of chaos.
Yeah, and it usually is, it seems like.
There will always be chaos. Yes. If you want chaos, just watch college football.
Yes, that's where it's at. And it will be, just win. No, just win, take care of it.
Just win out and you're fine.
Yeah.
If you win, unless you're Florida State, you win, you're good.
Yep. And Texas will probably, if they beat Texas, they'll probably make it anyway. So, yeah. All right. Auburn. Now, I will mention Peyton Thorne since we talked so bad about him this year.
You have been mean
5
to that
touchdown passes, though. I know it's ULM, but he couldn't do this against air, I didn't think. So 22 of 33 for 286, and he didn't play a whole lot in the second half.
And 3 of those touchdown passes were to Cam Coleman, who has emerged as would you use superstar for him?
Not yet.
Against Louisiana Monroe.
He's no Ryan Williams, but if he was on Alabama, he probably would be.
Well, maybe.
But he's at Auburn, so he's got Peyton Thorne to deal with. So
poor fellow.
Maybe next year he can be.
If he doesn't transfer.
Yeah. Got to keep everybody there.
Got to keep everybody. But, they played ULM, and a lot of the success probably because it was ULM. Although Louisiana Monroe they have a decent team for the Sun Belt. So Auburn can kind of take a deep breath. This week they've got Texas A&M coming to town. It's a night game at Jordan-Hare. On that field, anything can happen.
Yeah. I've seen them lose to Texas A&M several times, though. For a long time, it was the home team would lose that game.
Right.
So, I don't know. Hopefully that is not the case.
Wasn't it 2014 where Auburn was in the top 5, I believe?
I think they were 6th.
Okay, they were in the top 10 then. And
Had
then
fumbled twice their last 2 drives. Needed to score one of them. Our center snapped the ball early, dismukes, and his worst snap of the season at the worst time possible, and they fumbled it. Yeah, they really blew that game, and it all went downhill after that.
I know how it feels for games to almost be blown in, sometimes blown by bad snaps.
Yeah.
In the Rose Bowl, Alabama had one drive that was going to go down there and take the lead, and it was going well. Then the center decided to snap it over. Milrose had 2 times in a row.
That was rough.
It was a rough
Yeah, you
year
count on the center, man.
The center
touches play. Him and the quarterback touch it every play.
That's right. If some players, if they play their best, will outshine the center. But if everyone plays their worst, the center will have the most impact on the game.
You will see it, yes. All right, so you want to jump into your picks this week?
That's right. We have 5. It's really not a good week in the SEC. Really not that many good games. Outside of the SEC, you've got a couple of very, very interesting matchups.
Yes.
We'll start with Army and Notre Dame squaring off at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Notre Dame, 1 loss to Northern Illinois. How that happened, we still don't know.
Looking back, it's unbelievable.
Then you've got an undefeated Army team that's really hammered everyone they've played this season. So it's Notre Dame, it's Army. Do the Black Knights have a chance to beat the Fighting Irish?
No. Maybe it's going to – Navy had a lot of mistakes when they played Notre Dame. So they can keep it close probably. And this is this is huge for them.
Oh, it is. Because if you win this game in your Army, then you win out. You're already guaranteed a spot in the American Athletic Conference Championship game with Tulane, an undefeated Army team that had beaten Notre Dame. It'd be hard to keep them out of the playoffs.
They could jump Boise. Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
They could. But Notre Dame, this is really their last tough game. They have USC next week, which could be interesting. It could be interesting. So there's a lot of playoff implications in this game, which we really didn't expect at the beginning of the season that this would be a crucial game. But you picked Notre Dame.
Yes.
So do I, because Notre Dame, they finally learned how to run the offense. They're kind of in a rhythm. And boy, I tell you what, it's looking like Notre Dame's going to go to the playoffs this season. I'm picking the Fighting Irish.
That.
Yeah, after they lost to Northern Illinois, figured they were dead in the water.
Thought they'd lose several more games, but they haven't.
But they've done a really, really good job, and that's one of the perks of the 12-team playoff is if we were with a 4-team system like we had last year,
they'd be in trouble.
Notre Dame would have no chance, and neither would Army. This would be just another game on the way to a decent bowl. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of implications in this one. Another playoff implication game outside of the SEC, Indiana, undefeated, story of the season. Kurt Cignetti in his first season with the Hoosiers has them 10-0. Then you have Ohio State, 9-1. Your only loss was earlier in the season to Oregon, the number 1 team in the country, by 1 point. So they've rebounded from that, I'm sure. Now they have to play an Indiana team that really wants to win the Big Ten. What do you think happens?
Indiana has not played a team with not just like a ranked team. They haven't played a team with a winning record. So, unless they changed last week. But,
that's true.
They have not played anybody.
No.
So they will get beat. And
do you think it will be bad, though?
Well, everybody plays Ohio. Nebraska almost beat Ohio State.
That's true. Ohio State's not the kind of team.
It'll probably be close.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be maybe 10 points.
Okay, I could see that. I was going to say probably not 1 possession, maybe 2 if Indiana fights hard.
Will be fired up.
They will.
First big game of the year.
They will come out on fire, but in the end, Ohio State, behind the home crowd, should roll in that one, but definitely will be something interesting to keep an eye on. Now to the SEC, really had to scrounge to find any good games. Vanderbilt at LSU. couple of teams that are started off really well for them. Well, for Vanderbilt, it really peaked mid-season. But Vanderbilt's slumping. LSU's lost 3 in a row. They lost to Texas A&M by 15, Alabama by 29. And then last week, they lost by 11 to Florida.
Yes.
Which is just absurd.
They've really fallen apart.
You're playing, and to kind of put that into perspective, Florida was playing with their running quarterback, DJ Lagway. He's a freshman. His strength is running the football, but his hamstring was messed up, so he was in the pocket stationary. He couldn't run, and he still beat LSU.
That's a bad loss for them.
It is.
They're all over Brian Kelly now.
Oh, they are. And if they lose this one, they'll be ready to fire him. They'll have a moving van in his house.
Hugh Freeze will be on the hot seat to start next year. But I think the loser might be at the Birmingham Bowl. So
wow,
yeah.
So either way, you're going to get an interesting team if you want to go to Protective Stadium.
If LSU was at the Birmingham Bowl, things went terribly wrong. I mean, at least go to Nashville.
That's right. You could go to the Music City
But
Bowl.
Vanderbilt could be there. So, but I am going LSU since it's at their place.
Well, I'm going to agree with you. Like you say, it's at Baton Rouge. The LSU fans don't want to lose to Vanderbilt because certain teams in our area have already felt the pains of losing to the Commodores. I doubt that LSU will feel that, but you never know in this crazy college football season. Next up, a very, very interesting game that could go either way, Texas A&M at Auburn. Because Auburn could pull the upset. It's at night, at home. Anything can happen, right?
They have not played well at home in big games. Their best win at home is, you got 3 to choose from. New Mexico, Alabama A&M, or ULM.
Those are their only wins at home, right?
They beat Kentucky on the road.
Which seems kind of strange now that you think about it.
So I'm not picking them at home. I probably wouldn't pick them on the road either. It's just, but I think I think they could beat them. They're not great.
Texas A&M is not good away from home.
Their record's great, but they're not as they're not
this
that
is
great.
A team, Texas A&M, that they could very well win out because they have Texas A&M at home next week. Texas A&M has Texas at home next week. Let me correct myself. Texas A&M could be in the SEC championship game, but away from home. So there's a lot to play for.
We don't want that.
Yeah, we
don't want Texas A&M. No, we don't.
But then Alabama might have a chance to beat them.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting.
That would be very interesting. But Texas A&M has to beat Auburn. There's a lot on the line for the Aggies right here. So I'm picking Texas A&M, but I certainly wouldn't be shocked if a lot of chaos went down.
Yeah, Auburn's defense will probably keep it close, but they can't score in these games, it seems like.
Final game coming up. Alabama at Oklahoma. The line was really close at the beginning, and then it just exploded in Alabama's favor. It's 2 touchdowns, 14 points. Alabama's the favorite.
Wow.
At Oklahoma, at night. Do you think Oklahoma will pull off the upset?
No.
Do you think they can?
No.
You don't think
the quarterback play? Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
it was so awful against Missouri.
Jackson Arnold, he was the starter, got benched, but he got his job back. So good for him.
Yeah.
And he's the person that chased Dylan Gabriel out of Oklahoma. He had Dylan Gabriel, one of your Heisman front runners. He's not the favorite. Travis Hunter for Colorado is going to win the Heisman Trophy if he doesn't get hurt. That's already basically taken care of. But Jackson Arnold, he was supposed to be the next quarterback to win the Heisman at Oklahoma.
What a struggle.
And it has not ended well. Now, it could turn around. He's got next year. But quarterback play's been terrible.
Yeah.
You know Alabama loves to get pressure on
They're going to hassle this guy.
He will be running for his life, and I think Alabama will win fairly handily, although, it being a road game, you never know. Alabama, last road game worked out well.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like by 4 touchdowns.
I think that'll be about like that, this one. I think they'll really hound that quarterback, and he struggled bad against Missouri. I mean, he just made terrible mistakes. It basically cost him the game.
Right, and Oklahoma doesn't have the wide receivers to help a quarterback out.
No, and if you're running and you don't have the receivers, it's going to be trouble.
So
they might not make a bowl game this year.
They really might not.
Oklahoma's got to win one of these last 2 games.
LSU's next week. Alabama's this week.
Yeah,
they could go 5-7, and then Red Venables would join Hugh Freeze and Brian Kelly on the hot seat. So a lot of coaches in the SEC going to be on the hot seat next season.
Clarkley and Drinkwitz on the top. They're off the hot seat now.
They're off the hot seat, although we really thought they would be fired by this time. But it was great for them, great for us, because that's the end of Zach's picks.
Yeah. Sam Pittman also.
Sam Pittman, that's right.
That'll be another one. Yeah, it's a busy hot seat for the SEC.
It's been a revolving door of the hot seat.
Yes, and Napier saved his job.
He did.
Which is, I didn't see that coming.
No.
All right, so that wraps up our show this week. So get out and watch a game. We're down to 3 left, and we're getting to the nitty gritty now.
Go to Leeds, go to Solent, go to Lynn, go somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, these games, it's big time games now. We haven't had teams to have 3. This kind of reminds me of baseball. We had 2 teams playing for the championship, Corner and Assembly Christian. And then you had Jasper softball. All at the same time, basically in the same place. And now we have these 3 teams. So Corner's good at everything, it seems like right now.
I know it.
Yeah, good for Corner.
I'm glad.
It's a whole different group of kids.
Glad they're good.
Yeah, we didn't think that after. Thought they'd be good, but going up a class and
and then being even better.
Another great season for Corner.
So it's been great for them.
All right, so we want to thank Bevill State for sponsoring. That gym's getting closer. That new gym.
It is getting closer.
It'll be January.
When it opens, go check it out.
Yes, it's very nice. So we want to thank Bevill. Thank Jake for producing. If you like what you see, subscribe and like. It helps us out. And we'll see you next week.